just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there have been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know.
In 1926, Carnegie was an established Negro History Week. The celebration of Black History Month grew from his creation. From the beginning, Woodson realized the importance of providing a theme to focus the attention of the public during the celebration. The intention has never been to dictate or limit the exploration of the Black experience, but to bring the public's attention to important developments that merit emphasis. This year's theme for Black History Month is Civil Rights in the United States.
The history of civil rights in the United States is largely the story of free people of color and later African Americans to define what rights pertain to citizens in a civil society. It has been the history of enlisting political parties to recognize the need for our governments, state, and federal to define and protect those rights. Through the years, people of African descent have formed organizations and movements to promote equal rights.
This year, the Association of the Study of African American Life and History has selected the theme of Civil Rights in America to mark the 50th anniversary in 1964 Civil Rights Act, and we invite all Americans and the global community to join us in exploring the history of equal rights for all.
Would you please join us in standing for the singing of the Negro National Anthem?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. rejoicing, rise higher, the listening skies. Let us resound loud as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Class dismissed.
Today we welcome you, the students and staff of Prairie High School, to the first annual Black History Month program, where we will experience the history of the Civil Rights Movement through the eyes of a lovable character, Granny B, who lived through the Civil Rights Movement.
Now, Mom, I am 16 now. I am perfectly capable of watching myself for the weekend. I do not need a babysitter. I especially do not need Granny B coming over here to watch me. Okay, I'm telling you, that lady, she's crazy. She won't let me do anything. Anything.
Trisha, do you remember what happened the last time I left you at home alone on the weekend? Look at the dog, Trisha. He's still trying to recover from the last time, the last party you threw, Trisha. Look at the dog.
He's okay, Mom.
Look at the dog.
Mom, that's not, he's okay, and that's not the point. That was, it doesn't matter. But she smells funny. And all she wants to do is just sit around and tell stories about the olden days and how she had to fight and struggle for everything, and that us kids these days, let me tell you, us kids these days, we don't know our history. That's why we're so ignorant. All we want to do is just sit around with our pants sagging, working all over the place, and all we do is a good old-fashioned
Stop right there. Listen, your grandmother is 95 years old. You could learn a thing or two from Granny B.
Like what? What you just had for the last supper?
Did you?
I said I should do a report for Mr. Tucker right now.
Oh, okay, now what was I saying? Listen to me. You don't know how much longer, and I don't know how much longer Granny B is going to be around.
That's because she's like as old as dirt.
What did you say?
I like that shirt, Mama. That's really nice.
Okay, listen, look, I'm going to be here in a minute. I need you to be respectful, okay? I love you, Trisha. I gotta go. I'll see you on Monday. Give us something. Yeah. Don't talk back.
It's open. It's open. It's open. Granny, it's open. Granny, hey,
Come on over here, let Granny give you a hug. I said, come over here. Right here. Hey, look at you. You all feel that. Oh! Your toes. They straight. You used to look like you were walking to the east. And
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, y'all got any furniture?
No, I think we
Okay. Then how your grades doing? Oh, Lord.
my grades?
Yeah.
My grades. Excuse me, Granny. They're alright, I guess. I mean, if I say so.
You kids.
They're A's and B's. Maybe one and a half.
Did you say an F, Trish? You don't want to bust your head. Did you say an F? What you got left for, lady?
It may or may not be history.
No! You got an F in history. Gets an F in history.
Oh, let me tell you. Not only me, it's like everybody. Okay. History is boring. There, I said it. History is boring. Nothing is relevant to my life today. Why should I care what they did 100,000 years ago? I mean, and then I have to do this stupid report from Mr. Tucker that I don't want to do. I mean, ain't nobody got time for that. I don't.
Lord. She ain't got time for history. Lord. Civil rights movement. Mark. Wait up. Mark. Don't roll. Don't get it. Roll. Oh, no, Rosa gonna get it. Rosa, Rosa, oh my God.
Granny. Would you stop? I mean, I know you are not having a heart attack right now. I wish you weren't, but you know.
Baby, I wish I was having a heart attack hearing you talk all that mess. Trisha, that's what's wrong with y'all folks today. You know what? All y'all want to see is what? All those saggy pants with your underwear showing. They go like this other man. Lil Wayne. Don't ask him. He does. Rap nasty, rap music, nasty music. Then y'all do the tweet, tweet, like bird. Tweet, 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 tweet.
Twitter?
I don't know. And that girl, I gotta pray for her. Lord, Miley Cyrus. Twerking all over the place. That's all y'all little folks like. So
No, Granny. No, ain't nobody twerking nowhere. I mean, if I was twerking, you would know.
Dirt. Trish, people have fought and died for your rights. Civil rights movement, that ain't no joke. Do you hear me? You have the right to a good education. You have the right to vote. You have the right to sit in a public place without being told you gotta go. Baby, if it wasn't for the leaders of the civil rights movement, I mean, get your pen out and get this. People like Rosa Parks. Oh.
On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give a receipt to a white man on a Montgomery bus. She was arrested and fined. The arrest of Mrs. Parks and upstanding citizens sparked the Montgomery Boys boycott. During the boycott, African Americans refused to ride city buses in Montgomery, Alabama to protest segregated seating. The boycott took place from December 5th, 1955 to December 20th, 1956, and is regarded as the first large-scale demonstration against segregation in the U.S. The boycott of public buses by blacks in Montgomery began on the date of Parks' court hearing and lasted 381 days. That's right. For more than a year, 381 days, blacks organized carpools to provide transportation for each other or simply walked everywhere. The U.S. Supreme Court ultimately ordered Montgomery to integrate this bus system, and one of the leaders of the boycott, a young pastor named Martin Luther King Jr., emerged as a prominent national leader of the American civil rights movement in the wake of this action.
Knocking on this door 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My sugar.
I'll get it. I'll get the door. Oh, hey, Robert. Hey, come on in. Hey, Granny. Remember Robert, don't you? You see the Robert? Let's go for it.
Hey, Robert. How you doing, Max?
I mean, it's chilling. Just chilling and enjoying life. What have y'all been doing all day?
Oh, let me me tell you, she's been doing nothing but nag me all day. You know how she is.
Watch yourself. I have been trying to get this little girl over here to appreciate her history. Robert, that is what's wrong with your young people. Y'all don't appreciate nothing. Nothing.
Whoa. Slow your roll, Prairie B. Cálmate. That stuff happened like 1,000 years ago. But it has nothing to do with us now, especially me, because, you know, I'm Mexican.
I know you did. No, he didn't. Yeah, no, he didn't. Listen to me, Robert. Civil rights has and has always been a struggle for people of color. Do you hear me? People of color could not sit anywhere in a county space in the restaurant. No, we couldn't. Once you're brown, like a Mexican, baby. No, you couldn't sit at the counter. No.
Oh, hold on, what?
Honey, write that down. As long as you have any color in you, you were trash, you were nobody, you get killed even. Yes, you would.
Dang, I had no idea.
I know you didn't. But baby, right now, in the 1960s, 4 boys went to college. Then they got out of college one day and went to the corner store to order some coffee in Greensboro, North Carolina. These 4 boys who went to college found a way to stand up for our rights, baby. But you know that. They don't have that challenge.
Just
You know, I really don't think I doubt I could have gone through all of that.
Baby, you don't know what you could have gone through. Once you got faith, you can go through stuff. Yes, you can.
Bueno. Sí, soy yo. Ok, voy para allá. I'm sorry, but I gotta go into work. I don't think I can be helping you with the paper after all.
Get out of my house, bro.
It's nice seeing you again, Mrs. B.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Granny, that was so mean. Anyway, you were saying something earlier about the right to vote?
Do you know that they used to make black folk take a test to vote? You know, we don't have to take no test.
A test?
Yes, we did. That test was a time test. Not only was it time, it had some tricky questions, right? And if you only failed one, you missed one, you failed the whole test. No voting, no voting.
Really? Just one?
One. But you want to know what? Let me tell you. If you made it to take the test, your life would be threatened. And if your life wasn't threatened, you were killed. Yes, you were. When those 3 boys were killed on that first day of Freedom Summer, it just brought a greater attention to the whole cause. Great attention.
What was Freedom Summer? What was that?
What was Freedom Summer? Freedom Summer was an effort by civil rights activists pledged to nonviolence to integrate Mississippi's segregated political system during 1964. As Granny B said, on the project's first day, June 21st, James Chaney, Mickey Schwerner, and Andrew Goodman were kidnapped and murdered. Although previous murders of black organizers in Mississippi had been largely ignored by the media, the disappearance of Goodman, Chaney, and Schwerner on the very first day of the project was widely covered by the mainstream press and helped focus the nation's attention on the Mississippi Summer Project. One of the main goals of Freedom Summer was to register African American voters. Although the 15th Amendment made it illegal to prevent voting based on race in 1890, many southern states, including Mississippi, created Jim Crow laws, which called for segregation that circumvented the amendment and prevented African Americans from voting. Let's take a look at some of these Jim Crow laws. African Americans had to live in separate parts of towns from whites, enter stores through separate entrances, use separate bathrooms, go to separate hotels, eat and sleep in separate restaurants and hotels, attend separate schools, and do the hardest, most menial jobs for little pay. Blacks and whites could not marry, and also African Americans could not serve on juries. One way southern states prevented blacks from voting was by creating barriers such as literacy tests to determine who could vote. Let's take a look at a few example questions from one of these tests. The directions state, do what you are told to do in each statement, nothing more, nothing less. Be careful, as one wrong answer denotes failure of the test. You have 10 minutes to complete the test. Number 1 says, draw a line around the number or letter of this sentence. It's pretty easy, right? The answer is 1. But number 5, let's take a look at number 5. It says, circle the first letter of the alphabet in this line. Okay, I got that last time. I don't know the answer, so. Or number 6 says, in the space below, draw 3 circles. One engulfed by the other. One inside engulfed by the other. What does that even mean? Though its members faced armed and violent opposition from powerful opponents that summer, participants in Freedom Summer maintained their belief in their philosophy of nonviolence. Freedom Summer was a movement unique in American history. It was largely a grassroots movement led by relatively unknown leaders. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 required racial integration in public facilities like restaurants, hotels, libraries, schools, and hospitals, though some years passed before it was effectively enforced. In 1965, Congress passed the Voting Rights Act, which outlawed discriminatory voting practices and empowered the federal government to intervene. By the end of 1966, most African Americans in the South who were eligible to vote had registered and could engage in democracy for the very first time. Although it began with tragedy and tremendous difficulty and opposition, in the end, Freedom Summer had great effects on the civil rights movement.
Wow, that's crazy. How did you guys find the strength to continue without wanting to like kill someone? I don't know.
Honey, it took a lot of prayer and a lot of faith. It was like you knew that the Lord was going to break every chain that was holding us back. Sure did. Oh, Lord.
Jesus.
what gets me nowadays, Trisha? Only 60% of Americans actually exercise their rights to vote. 60.
Just 60?
Just 60.
You know what? I've always wondered, Granny, if Martin Luther King Jr. had lived, would he have been our first black president?
Maybe. But you know that boy Malcolm? You don't know Malcolm? Malcolm would have given him a run for his money. I noticed it.
But wasn't Malcolm just some crazy militant who just advocated violence?
Actually, Malcolm and Martin, they wanted the same things. They just went about doing it a little different.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal.
Nobody can give you freedom. Nobody can give you equality or justice or anything. Now, if you're a man, you take it. Dr. King wants the same thing I want. Freedom.
I have a dream that one day sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
I believe in brotherhood of men, all men. But I don't believe in brotherhood with anybody who doesn't want brotherhood with me. Now, I believe in treating people right, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to treat somebody right who doesn't know how to return the treatment.
I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will one day be transformed into an oasis and live out the true meaning of freedom and justice.
You don't have to be a man to fight for freedom. All you have to be is an intelligent human being. Now, if you're not ready to die for us, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary.
I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they're not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Our common goal as 22 million African Americans is respect as human beings. The God-given right to be a human being. Our common goal is to obtain the human rights that America has been denying us. We can never get civil rights in America until our human rights are first restored. We will never be recognized as citizens until we are first recognized as humans.
And when this happens, when we let freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, every state and every city, we'll be able to speed up this day when all of God's children, black man and white man, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
These 2 men were some fine young men. Not only that, when they spoke with passion. And although they did go about doing things a little different, they wanted the same things, Trisha. They wanted kids like you to be afforded the rights that the Constitution gave them and the law gave them. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I get it now. I never knew my history was so important, so full of such great leaders. But now I know why you're so proud of who you are. It's because you know where you came from. And how others like you had to fight for everything they have today. You know, I think I now have enough information to write my report now.
All right, go on, baby.
Okay, I'll do that.
You're going to get it made.
We are not just the color of our skin. It's much more than that. There's a beginning and an end, the middle made of facts. From Nobel Peace Prizes, speeches and marches, Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, the I Have a Dream and the bus boycott. From segregated schools and water fountains, our ancestors who moved mountains to make it to where we can walk happily and free. We are not just the color of our skin. It's much more than that. Showing the world we aren't afraid to stand strong and that we too belong. In this world of ugliness and hate, that we can stand together if we get our minds straight. We are not just the color of our skin. We come from more than nappy hair, colored in Negroes. wonderful singers and legends, war fighters, and now a president. Our ancestors proved what they can do. Now it's our turn to do it too. We are more than the N-word we're fighting in school. Encouraging words, extravagant deeds will give us the power we need to stand strong and spread our wings. We are so much more than the color of our skin.
I finally finished that damn little report. I swear I thought I never finished that. Hey, Granny! Hey, Granny, wake up. Granny. Granny, wake up! Oh my gosh, Granny, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. You're right. You're a great woman. You know everything. I was stupid. Please wake up. Granny. Okay. Really, Granny? I thought you died.
Lord, Trisha, you should have seen yourself. I'm stupid. You're the great woman, Craig. You know everything. All right, baby. Did you learn something?
I did. Trust me. I really, really did.
Okay, what time is it?
I don't know. Oh, hey, come on in. Hey, Granny, who's this? Who's this? Who is this, Granny? I never saw him before.
That's my boo, baby. That's my boo. Now, Trisha, I'm gonna see you in the Philippines. I gotta go get turned up. Trisha, watch the dog. My book. Okay, take your time.
We want to thank all of our participants in the Black History Program. It took us a lot of hours of practice. We want to give a special thanks to all our participants. Our MCs, we have Stanley Brown, Deanna Martinez, Nerea Garcia, Kayla Nee Cruz, our student presenters, Anthony Harris, Desiree Phillips, Martin Luther King, Darius Freeman as Malcolm X, Angela Scott to her original poetry, our perfect praise dancers, come on out, Ashley Williams, Kayani Willis, Deliria Taylor, Markeisha Daniels, Taylor Villard, Deliver Lamb, Andrea West, Takovia Williams, and Ganayla Sloan, Eric Roldan as Robert, Miss Roach as Trisha's mom, Leilani Washington as Trisha, and the marvelous Miss Clauselle as Granny B. Special thanks to our professional dancer, Mr. Corey Smith, the anointed dancer. Come on out, Mr. Smith. We'd also like to thank Miss Kreiner for working with our speakers, Ms. Quadras for her technical support and lighting, Shayana Wright for helping out, Mr. Foster for the beautiful photographs that we used in the beginning, Sarah Segura, Mr. Jones, our co-producer. Thank you for being a great audience.